Hey y'all, welcome back to the Music Majors Club Unpacked. All right, gang, we're back. It's been a minute. I feel like I start a lot of episodes off like that where I'm like, "Oh, it's been so long." Which is not great. But welcome back. This is the first episode I am filming in 2024. That is crazy. That is nuts. I don't love that. I don't love that it's been so long. To be fully transparent, the episode that I filmed with Kiki from We Book Club, which is my last episode, we filmed at the end of last year. So to be honest, it took a long time to edit. A long time. That was not a simple task. That's also the first time I've had a guest on the show, so that also was kind of a learning curve for me to figure out how to edit, how to do two mics at the same time, and I brought in a ton of graphics. I did all kinds of stuff, so that was a learning curve for me for sure. That file was a massive file. It was a massive project. But hey, I learned a lot. I got it out. And I think it's actually one of my best episodes ever. I had the reaction from the fans, of course, the listeners, just kidding, was great. Seems like a lot of people really liked that episode, and we had a ton of fun recording it. So there might be something else in the works. Who knows? We might have another episode coming. I can't say. But if y'all enjoyed that last episode, let me know right now. Let me know that you want more, because I do want to try to have like multiple guests on the show. I want to bring in different people from, different like expertise backgrounds and different, interests to mix things up. But Kiki may be coming back. I hate to break the news. I mean, I guess I just said I'm not going to break the news, but we'll see. She might be a recurring co-host. So, but anyways, yeah, it's been a minute since I have fully recorded. So, finally, here we are. I wish I could do this more long term as far as like cranking out episodes, but like I've said in the past, it's a lot of work. It's just, and I'm not complaining about doing it as I'm doing it right now, but like it's a lot of like the behind the scenes work that goes into editing these, and like, it's just a lot of work doing this kind of stuff, and I'm grateful that I get to do it when I can. I just like wish I could do it more, So we'll see as the show grows, as the Music Majors Club, becomes more and more of a group. We'll see what the future holds. Maybe I can do more, but we're back. It's 2024, man. Nothing like the last minute to get this out there. To be honest, too, last year ended with just like some different changes. Some things happened in my life that it honestly left me a little bit uninspired. It wasn't the end of last year. It was more the beginning of this year. So I just like didn't really have any inspiration to make content, to do this kind of stuff. It's the first time I've not really done stuff like that in a while. So it was the first like little break that I had. And honestly, I think I needed it. But I'm glad to be back. I'm glad to be doing it. I'm glad to be, making more content. And I actually want to start this episode off with talking about the end of last year. Oh my gosh. If you haven't heard, if you haven't streamed, if you haven't checked it out already, I released my very first album ever, called The Holiday Piano Classics. Oh my gosh, insert graphic here. Yeah, I don't know what came over me. I went for it. I just did it, I've been playing the piano for my whole life. I won't date myself and, say my age. Just kidding. Over 30 years, we'll say that. Over 30 years, I have been playing piano. And I went to school for music. I studied classical music. I love music of all kinds. I play all different types of music, but I've never actually released an album, or the kids call it a project. I've never released, or whatever you want to call it. I've never released anything like that officially. I've done covers. I've done all kinds of stuff across YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and all this, and I've done all of that, but like I haven't actually released a published project ever. So this was huge for me. If you haven't listened already, go check it out. And if you have, thank you so much. I actually had like so much support from people. So many people listened, so many people streamed. It's been all over the place. You get all kinds of like, analytics and stuff, and it's been listened to all over the place. So it's pretty crazy. I don't know what came over me. I was a few days into December, and I was like, you know what? I've wanted to do an album like that forever. Like, and especially like Christmas songs, holiday music. Like, it's easy. It's stuff that everybody knows. It's not rewriting, it's not reworking the wheel and rewriting a bunch of music, right? Like, it's classic stuff, and it can be appreciated by everyone. A lot of classic songs people know. So, right before, or like right into December, I was like, you know what? I need to just do it. And I don't know what hit me, but man, I recorded that album quickly. As I was just saying, how much work a lot of this stuff can be. I was just working like endlessly on it, like recording it, editing it, mixing it, listening to it. I did it in honestly just a few days. Like, I don't know how I did it. I don't know what came over me, but yeah, I just like really went for it, and it was amazing. It felt so good to really get something like pen to paper, like doing something that real and something that felt that like official was really just so awesome. Another thing that talks about like, just the amount of detail that goes into something like that is crazy. Like when you edit something and you master it and you make sure that it's perfect, like an album of any kind is really just so stitched together, or a video of any kind, like movies. They're just so stitched together. It's like, not to say that it's fake, but it's almost like it can be very manufactured, if that makes sense. So like, all the notes that I play, all of the, the highs, the lows, the harmonies, the pedal, like all of that has to be really articulated and like crafted. If you want it to sound good. I mean, of course, you can make it sound however you want. You can go for any type of vibe, but like, and like listening to it, like different volume levels, different platforms, like different, like just listening to it on your headphones versus like on wireless headphones or on the computer, like every listening experience is totally different. And then listening to it like in the car, like I've actually heard that that's one of the best ways to listen to music is in the car, like because your stereo system is usually like typically pretty good and you have a very close up view and sound. I don't know. I've listened to it in the car a lot, and it was so funny. Like one of the last nights that I was doing it, I was like making edits, listening, and then I would go down to the car and listen to it over and over, and like just check one part and check one thing, and like take notes about things that needed to be changed. I mean, I must have looked insane going in and out from my car to my apartment. Like, what is this person doing? But anyways, all that being said, I wanted to like unpack the album with you live because it was so unexpected and so just like so rewarding to do and to put out and like see in the world officially. Like it was so cool. So again, thank you for listening. If you've listened to it already, thank you so much. If you haven't listened already, obviously I'm going to leave all the information down below, but I can't wait for what's next. Like that inspired me so much to do it. Like I just did it, I did it in the course of like a week, and to show myself that I could do it that quickly shows that I can do it. And I've always been able to do it, and yeah, it was really cool. I have some ideas for what's next. A lot of the music I want to create and put out is instrumental. So it'll primarily just be piano, but, I have some ideas. I don't know if I want to share them yet or like keep it a secret or not. I've kind of like teased it a little bit on Instagram. I'll just tell you, you know what? Let's just do it. We're in the pod. We're talking it. We're spilling it. We're unpacking it. So my ideas for concept albums will be like the one I just did was holiday piano classics, right? Holiday music, Christmas time. I want to do that again. So spoiler alert, like I want to do that maybe every year, every couple of years. I want to add to that collection because I only did 6 songs. It was short. It's like a little EP. So the next one, I want to add more. But outside of holiday music, I want to, of course, do like, other stuff. I have a concept album for reflective or meditative music where so I included one original song on Holiday Piano Classics, and it's just kind of like reflective and meditative, and it's called Christmas Reflections. And I got a lot of positive, feedback about people just enjoying, like it was very peaceful and it felt very, just like, like a really nice background track. And that's totally what I love to make. I love to make music like that. And I have a huge concept in mind for that type of music, like meditative, peaceful, something that's just like background piano music, but still original. So I want to do like all original songs, different motifs, different themes, different types of stuff like that. So that's one concept album. So get excited for that. That's probably not going to be first. That's going to take a little bit more time because I'm going to write all that music. That's going to be like all originals. So I'm really excited about that. But in the foreseeable future, and this will help keep me accountable, this will help me to stay on it and stay focused, I want to do, drum roll please, here we go, this is it, this is the next big one, a Disney piano cover album.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Whoa. Who's prepared? Who's ready? I mean, I live in Orlando. I play the piano. What better concept would I need than Disney piano music? Hello. So yeah, that's in the works now. I am currently working on like the track list, starting to record. So yeah, that's coming. That is in the near future. And I hope as quickly as I was able to get out holiday piano classics that I can quickly, or not quickly, but just like, stay on it, stay working on it and get the Disney one out soon. So yeah, super excited about that. If you have any recommendations, if you have any songs that you have to hear on that album, the Disney album, let me know. Tell me in the comments below. Tell me your favorite Disney songs because this one's coming and this one's gonna be awesome. So really excited about that. Of course, huge shout out to Kiki for the album artwork on Holiday Piano Classics. You know it, you love it, you've seen it. She, our partnership may continue. I mean, the collab may continue on the next album. We'll see. Fingers crossed. We'll see. But yeah, super excited about that. And really happy with where where Holiday Piano Classics was, and like so cool to see how that will just like evolve over time, like it's just awesome to think that will always be out, and like people listen to it. It's crazy. Like obviously my friends and family, like y'all have listened to it. Like I post it everywhere. You have no choice but to see it and to maybe listen to it, maybe not, but like random people, like all around the world. Crazy. So really thankful for that and excited to see what's to come next. So that's kind of an update about what's going on with me, what's going on in my life with music, what's going on in my world of recording and like where we are with the show and stuff.
Congratulations.
Another thing I wanted to update us on is like this year, we are starting off 2024 with a ton of pop music, pop albums. I shouldn't even say pop. It's not just pop, but like, I'm just going to say it. The women of music are dishing out albums left and right. Okay. I need the full list here. I need to see all of the music that's come out, but like we have so much music from iconic women in 2024. The first one that started, let's see. Well, I'm just going to name off some of them and then we're going to like deep dive a little bit more into one that's just recently released. But let's see. The most recent release was, okay, I'll just say it. Eternal Sunshine, Ariana Grande. We're going to unpack that a little bit. That is out, especially by the time you're listening to this, that will have been out for sure. But that's out. Dua Lipa has an album coming out. Taylor Swift has an album coming out. Beyonce has an album coming out, Cowboy Carter. So we are getting blessed with music from female artists. I know I'm leaving some out here. I can't think of. There was a meme I saw the other day that was like, all the albums coming out, and it's with that audio. Actually, well, I'm planning on making it because I think it's funny, but like the audio that's like, another one, thank you. Another one, thank you. You know that one? And it's like all the albums coming out. The meme that I saw was more of like how the Grammys are going to be crazy next year, like, or this coming year or whatever. All the album, like big albums that are coming out this year, based on the ones that I just described. So yeah, for album of the year, it's going to be wild. But yeah, a lot of big albums this year so far. And the joke too was like the drought of 2025 after all of these women release all of these amazing albums is going to be real because like, oh, and Lady Gaga, hello, how can I forget Gaga, my fave. Gaga may have an album. That's more rumor, I guess. That's more speculation. May have an album coming out. But yeah, man, like there are so many albums coming out this year. 2025 next year. it's gonna be quiet. So anyways, we're going to talk a little bit about Eternal Sunshine. I want to talk about, I want to go through the songs and unpack my thoughts on them, talk a little bit about like what I hear and what I think. Ariana Grande potentially could be one of the greatest vocalists of our generation. Her voice is unlike anyone else's, and the amount of work that she does, it appears from editing and from mixing all of her music. I never knew how involved she was in her production process, just because you don't always expect that from artists, unfortunately. Like I do think a lot of artists are more hands-on than we even know, but until they tell us or until they post about it or until it's in the credits, like we don't really know, you know? And Ariana posted a lot of content of her in the studio mixing and like behind the board and doing all kinds of stuff. And I just think that's insane and incredible. I think more artists should do that if they have the ability to do that. Like, I don't think all artists are given that access to be that involved, unfortunately. I think a lot of bigger artists or a lot more successful artists have that type of control over what they're able to create, but for those, I just don't think for everybody they have that type of ability to really control their music. So I think it's awesome that she was so hands-on with this in between, like filming, well, not even in between, but after filming Wicked. Like, you know, she was on set for, I don't know, a year or two filming Wicked, which is going to be huge. Part 1 and part 2. I did not know we needed 2 parts to this movie. I am a big Wicked theater fan. I love the show. I love the production. I've seen it a handful of times in New York and on traveling shows, but I didn't know. I mean, I guess might as well make it into 2 parts, right? Why not? But I'm pretty excited for that myself. But yeah, after filming that, she went right into the studio and started recording this album. So I think that's pretty awesome that she is so hands-on. She worked a lot with Max Martin, so she talks a lot about all of the work that they did together with writing the music, recording, mixing, editing, and everything. That's pretty incredible. Max Martin, if you're not aware of who Max Martin is yet, oh my gosh, if you can think of any big successful pop song, there's a good chance Max Martin has had his hand on it. I'll put like a list of maybe some of the top songs that he's been a part of. Max Martin is like an iconic pop music icon. Like, he has written and been a part of so many major songs of all the big pop artists in the world and in time. So I think it's a perfect fit for her to work with him. I think she's worked with him before. She talks a lot about recording this album in a Zach Sang interview, which they're like best friends, and I love their interview style. I love the success that Zach Sang has on recording and interviewing people, but she talks a lot with him about her recording process with him, and it sounds like they worked a ton together on the album, which is pretty cool. So anyways, so loved hearing all of that. Loved how much she shared. She really shared so much about the process in making this album. She shared so much, obviously, in the album. If you haven't listened to Eternal Sunshine yet, I'll give you like an overview of the songs, of my thoughts, of course, and then maybe that will, help you decide if you want to listen to it or not, or if you have already listened to it, maybe you'll, just align and get to hear my thoughts on it and see, what you think comparatively. But it is a heavy album. Eternal Sunshine. It is, I was not prepared for the level of emotion I was going to encompass and feel from this album. So that did take a little bit of time to kind of like get over. When I was listening to the first few tracks, I was like, okay, I did not realize this was going to be so deep. But she really opens up. She gets really personal. She talks a lot about her life, her relationships, her ups, her downs, her marriage, or her ex. And this is the other thing too. Like, I really do like Ariana Grande. I don't know all of the lore. I'm not as involved, I guess, as I should be. If I'm gonna do a podcast episode about the album, I guess I should be more involved in the where she's at, but I don't know all the gossip, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't really know all of the highs and the lows with the Pete Davidson and that was, a long time ago, but I don't know all the highs and lows with like her ex-husband and the SpongeBob guy. Like, I don't know. I know some of the basics, but also like, it's her life. Like, whatever, let her live her life. So Eternal Sunshine, also based on the movie featuring Jim Carrey, who she loves. She's expressed her like super deep appreciation for Jim Carrey, his work. She says she's friends with them, which is pretty cool, getting to be friends with your idols. And like, I had never heard of this movie. This was a 90s movie, early 2000s movie, I think, actually. But yeah, Eternal Sunshine was a film featuring Jim Carrey, starring Jim Carrey. So she based that kind of concept in some of the songs around that. And then also, of course, the name. I know it's Eternal Sunshine. It's a lot longer of a movie title. I'll have it, featured here or listed here if you're watching visually to see. But I don't know. I haven't seen it, and I guess I need to. So beginning of the album, I won't go through each track because some of them, I don't know. I'll just talk about the big ones that I have some thoughts on. But the intro is nice. It's called Intro, End of the World. Kind of sets the stage and sets the scene for what we're going to experience in the album. But by track 2, great song. Banger. Up-tempo, a little bit of a disco vibe. You've got that guitar, that like wacka 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 sound, That's like that little piece on the guitar. What is that called? It's like a wah-wah button. I think is it called a wah-wah?
What was that?
Yeah, it's an effect. It's a guitar, and I guess you can use pedals. But I think it's called a wah, like a wah, W-A-H, a wah. So anyways, it's kind of got that in there and on the guitar, and it's got like a disco vibe. In the interview with Zach Sang, she talks about how she wrote that song in the concept of her life, of course, but also of her mom. So the concept of the song is like leaving and saying goodbye and starting over. And she says she thinks of her mom when she wrote that song because that was like what her mom experienced in their life when she was growing up, is leaving her dad. So kind of a sad concept, but on a fun song. Like, so a lot there. But it's a great song. Again, bye, saying goodbye. Okay, let's jump ahead to track 5. So there was an interlude before that and another song before that, but I'm just going to skip ahead to Eternal Sunshine. So the album title or song title of the album, Eternal Sunshine. Oh, this one's a lot. This one is definitely a deeper song. I really like the chorus. I like the high parts of the chorus. I really like that. I like how that rhythmically plays out. And then I love the little sound that she adds. And you played me like an Atari. And then an Atari, like the game system. And then it goes ching, like it makes a little sound, like a little gaming sound. I thought it was kind of fun. But yeah, man, that's a heavy one. Eternal Sunshine. That is a heavy song. Yep, that's all I'm gonna say. It's just like, that is a lot. So all about breaking up, it seems. All about, finding maybe what's next and like the things that you didn't like in the relationship. But man, that one's heavy. Okay, then next up, Supernatural.
Oh my God!
This is the best song on the album. I'm sorry. That's my opinion. This is a safe space, but that's the unpack right there. That's all you need to know. Supernatural. It's a banger. To me, if you've listened to Ariana Grande's previous music and know in the album Sweetener, the song Breathin', it's like another up tempo, but like not ridiculously high BPM. It's like just a really good, and it's a fun song. Supernatural is the breathin' of this album, if that makes any sense. So Supernatural, absolute banger. At the very end of the deluxe version that she released shortly after, she has a remix of it featuring Troye Sivan. I think it's a really fun song. I think it could be her next single. I love in the bridge, there's a part that goes, like it takes you all the way up from one octave to the next octave through this like weird kind of melodic pattern that sounds kind of like trippy, but then it makes sense because you land back up an octave higher, and it's just, and then just before, I should make a separate clip just for this. Like I should make a TikTok about this, because just before, right after that little pattern, just before that last chorus starts and that bridge had just ended, there's a pause. It's a quick, it's tiny, it's less than half a second, but all the tracks are off. It's just totally silent, and then it goes ba-na-na-na-na.
This love's possessing me, but I don't mind it.
And I love that. It's funny to think that the lack of sound actually adds that much more impact to the song. So like taking away everything to then give you everything. So creative. Love that.
Talented, brilliant, incredible.
So that's Supernatural. Definitely get into that. Definitely check that out. True Story is next. That is track 7. True Story is good. I think that's just vocals to me. That is pure vocals. The ending of that song is just all the high notes, all the vocals. And Ariana's shown like she layers so much of her music with all of herself and how she loves to use the vocal cords and the voice itself like as an instrument, which is very innovative and creative. And so she just like layers herself so much in all these different harmonies. There's also on the deluxe version, there's a acapella version of True Story. So if you want to hear just her voices and all of like the layering, that's pretty cool to check out. But yeah, True Story. That is a very, like I said, it's just like a very vocally heavy song. So a lot of big vocals on that one. Kind of like, it reminds me of the same styling where like she starts lower or like mid-range voice and then goes high at the end. It's very same styling to Every Time. That's the same way where like every time it starts off lower range vocals and then by the end she's like top of her head voice and just like belting it. It's the same exact like style layout, and I love it. I think it's a cocktail of success, a formula of succession, a cocktail of succession is what I was gonna say. I think it's perfect. I think it's a great formula. So love that. And then next up after the True Story is The Boy Is Mine. Okay, I have a confession to make as a musician, as a Music Major Club podcast, owner and enthusiast. You can't know everything about music, okay? And I say that with a very gracious grain of salt for myself because you can't know everything, okay? I don't know every type of music. I don't know every song. I don't know every artist. I don't know everything, right? I mean, I'm flattered that, I'm flattered to think that I have a lot of knowledge here, but I'm going to say this in a safe space, okay? That was all a joke, obviously. The Boy Is Mine, I know that was a 90s song title reference, but I had never heard the song, okay? I have not heard The Boy Is Mine by Brandy and Monica. And I hadn't listened to it yet, okay? I eventually did listen to it, but I thought that The Boy Was Mine by Ariana Grande, I thought it was going to be a cover of the song. And I hadn't listened to Brandy's version, right? I had only listened to Ariana's. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, this is, yeah, I can see how like this was somebody else's song and Ariana made it her own and like, did this and did that. And like Ariana made-ified it. Let me tell you, when I listened to the version by Brandy, I said, okay, you know what? It's always humbling to remember that, you never will know everything. Right? So I felt kind of like an idiot when I realized that was not the same song. So if you didn't gather all that, what I just said, The Boy Is Mine by Brandy and Monica and The Boy Is Mine by Ariana Grande are not actually the same song. It's a total common misconception. I can see how anyone would be confused, like myself. But yeah, they are different tracks. But when she was talking about this song at the beginning and before it was out, she was talking about how it was like, she kept talking about this 90s song and like, oh, it's like inspired by Brandy's song. And I was like, okay, cool. So it's going to be like a cover of it or it's inspired by it or whatever. No, it is not. So I fall on that sword for all of those who are like-minded and were also taken down the wrong path. So if you were also led astray, I was as well.
It's not
But anyways, all that to be said, The Boy Is Mine, obviously it's leaning into the concept of like, taking somebody else's partner or whatever. I don't want to get into that too much, but it is, I will say this, it's a saucy song. It is a saucy song. So I'll leave it at that. Next is Yes and track 9. This was the first and actually only single. There was no other single following up from Eternal Sunshine. I mean, there might have been after the album was released, but before the album was released, there was no second or third single. It was just Yes and we got a music video for it as well. It was, I will say this, Yes and definitely did not lead us into the album with the clear expectations that it would replicate that same styling. Well,
yes.
It's a standalone song for sure. I actually think it's one of my favorites still on the album. I love the song. I think it's a super fun song. It has that, Vogue, true pop sound of that drum beat is just, it's electric in that same concept of like what Vogue was. So this was a standalone song. My favorite lyric, I love the whole concept in this song of like, it's that kind of classic thing of like, forget what other people say and forget what other people think, like just live your own life. I love that whole concept. And my favorite lyric in this song is, I love that lyric, be your own best friend. Like, that is such a good lyric. And I think about that since it's been out. I think about that all the time and I love it. I think it's a really good lyric. And she is credited for writing the whole song. She wrote all the lyrics to this song, Yes and. So I think that's phenomenal. And then she has the Yes and remix featuring Mariah Carey, which is her idol. She says that in the interview too, that she could not have been more blessed to have her idol Mariah Carey on the track. How much she loves her. She's always loved her. She said she's like the queen of the 90s, queen of 90s music. So it only made sense to have Mariah on this song. I think it's great. There was a lot of pushback about the way that Mariah was layered into the song, meaning she has a heavier pour, we'll say. So it's a little bit Mariah heavy, but you know what? I think it's hilarious. Ariana says in the Zach Sang interview, she says, I wanted as much Mariah as I possibly could have. She says, and I wonder when that was filmed, if that was filmed before or after all the feedback came out, because she said she totally addresses that, and she says, I wanted as much Mariah and as little Ariana on this song. She's like, if I could just take myself out and just be like a whisper in the back, I would have, and it would just be Mariah. And you know what? I mean, it is like that. It is very heavy Mariah, and that's not a bad thing. It's just, it's different. And I think what's unique about Yes and too is that she actually sings in a much more soft tone. She has a lot of whisper, and in the bridge even, it's just that spoken word.
Your energy is yours, and mine is mine. What's mine is mine.
So I think that only is more impactful in this remix because she's already very quiet in that song, which is not something that she usually is. And then Mariah is it's a boisterous track. She is definitely there. I'll say that. So, but that doesn't make me dislike the remix at all. I probably listen to the remix more than I listen to the original now because I love the remix. So, okay, this is the next lead single of the album. So now, disregarding what I said earlier, track 10, We Can't Be Friends, Wait for Your Love. That is the next single from Eternal Sunshine. This song is, to me, it is too sad on a fast pop song. It's kind of like a classic, that classic juxtaposition of some of the other songs I said, or even like a lot of Taylor Swift songs that are like such sad lyrics and then like this fun, happy beat and a high BPM. Like this song, We Can't Be Friends, is so sad. I find myself more sad listening to it than excited or happy, I guess. And that's not a bad thing. That's just like the emotion that I get from it, She's talking about like breaking up and leaving someone, and there's a whole music video for it too, of course. Starring Evan Peters from American Horror Story, classic OG, like the first season ever, and then throughout time, obviously he's been in more, but like that was not expected. That was very random. But they're cute, it works. But yeah, man, that is a sad song. And that music video, from what I've seen, is really reflective of the Eternal Sunshine movie. So that has a lot of references to the film, so that kind of ties in like what she wanted Jim Carrey's movie to represent in this music video visually. So yeah, man, that's a sad one. Of course, it has that classic, or not classic, but it has that referenced Robyn song in it, right? It sounds a lot like Robyn's song "Dancing on My Own." We've all heard it. We all know the mashup of both. They are very similar, but yeah, that one is a little bit too sad for me. I'm not gonna lie. And then that leads into "I Wish I Hated You," and that's even more sad. She literally says in the interview that she does not plan to sing this song live because it is so sad, and it absolutely is. In the second chorus, you can hear her like breaking down. I wish I hated you. She says it that second time, she's like about to cry, and yeah, very sad. I do love the beginning of "I Wish I Hated You." These like little vibraphone, they're not vibraphones, but they're like little mallet sounds with like a super strong reverb. It's almost like an atmospheric vibe. I love that intro. I think that's beautiful. But yeah, the rest of it, too sad. And then "Imperfect for You," that's she also performed that at SNL, so I don't know if that's gonna be the next single. But it's not my favorite. She says that's ironically one of her favorite songs on the album. Maybe it will grow on me a little bit, but I think there's so many other big songs on the album. So "Imperfect for You" for me it's just okay. It's okay. It's like a mid song for me. You need to leave. And then "Ordinary Things." I think the crazy thing about this song is that it is featuring Nona, which is her grandma, right? So her grandma is featured on the song at the very end with an audio recording.
When he'd come home and I'd see him and he gets off that train, it was like God Almighty arrived.
I think that is so cute because she's done it before in previous albums. She's included her grandma on with voice memos or audio recordings or voicemails or whatever they are. I love that she's in the credits though, like it says featuring Nona. So like in theory, if this album or that song, like if any of it wins a Grammy, does that also mean that Nona wins a Grammy?
Well, yes.
I think so. And I think she deserves it. But then the rest of the album has got, a couple, like the deluxe album has a couple remixes and the acoustic songs. And yeah, I mean, I bring this album to light and I unpack this album because although I'm not, I would say I'm an Ariana Grande fan. Like I know probably all of her music. I've never seen her live. I can really appreciate her truly strong and talented voice. Like I said, she's one of the best vocalists of our generation. And like, I think now knowing how much work she does in her production and in her writing and everything, I think that will only continue to like evolve her as an artist and branch out further into her career. I would say I just like other artists, I would want more Ariana Grande music, and I know that's not the direction she's necessarily going in. I love that she's exploring acting. I love that she is she has a super successful makeup line. I think that's great. I have no harm, no foul, no beef against that. I want her to still make music, you know? There's lots of other successful artists that I think it's amazing that you're able to branch out and like capitalize on the ability of your brand and your name and your like your passions, like that go further than just music. However, I want more. I want more music.
Want more. We want more.
I don't want it just to be, all this other stuff. I want her to still be successful with music and release, like the timeless classic music that she has. So I'm excited for what's to come of her music. I'm excited for Wicked. I can't wait to see Wicked. It's going to be great, both part 1 and part 2, Thanksgiving. I'm also excited, segueing here from Ariana and Eternal Sunshine. I'm so excited for Lady Gaga's movie. It is a musical, but musical movie. The Joker. Is it called Joker? Is it just called Joker? Or is it like Joker Part 2? Or okay, Joker Folie à Deux. Folie à Deux. I know someone's going to correct me in the comments for that. Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, though. This is going to be, she has not received all of the awards for her acting career and acting presence in the past, and I think this is what's going to solidify and really push her further into her acting career. Lady Gaga has done so much acting, and she's always wanted to be an actress, and just like Ariana Grande, I think both of these films for both of them is really going to like put their successful acting skills out there for all of us to see. So I'm so excited for both those movies. Those are going to be both in 2024. Yeah, both this year. So those are going to be awesome. What's coming next? I don't know. The next big albums that we're going to have, like I mentioned at the beginning, Cowboy Carter by Beyonce is going to be huge. We're also going to have the next big anticipated album, I suppose, from myself is Taylor Swift's album, of course. The Tortured Poets Department. Did I get that right? That is right? Like I still don't even, I keep wanting to call it the Dead Poet Society or whatever, I know that's right. I'm not even gonna look it up. I know I got it. I got this down. But anyways, so those are going to be huge. I can't wait to unpack all of those with y'all. Those are going to be awesome. Kiki might be coming back on the show. We'll see, we'll see what's next. And yeah, just like always, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I like to do a little bit of everything on some of these. So I like to do, a little of this music, a little of that, a little of my life. So I like to have something for everyone to listen to. But yeah, make sure you're subscribed, make sure you follow, and I'll see you next time. But do all of that so that you too can become a music major. Bye.